Hey all you nerds, Gabe aka Froopy Art here, and welcome back to our Gravity Falls encrypted-inspired Pokemon region. In the previous episode, you chased down some Cypher Squad grunts who kidnapped Mayor Terry. One got away with Terry, and you're still catching up to your friends who entered an area called the Enchanted Forest.
Maple! Frenda! Sandy! Where are you guys?
We're here! We lost sight of Terry.
And I'm afraid we've gotten a little turned around in this odd forest.
And something is messing with our phones out here! Sure enough, you don't seem to have any service in this secluded area.
It's probably best if we get somewhere high up and get the lay of the land.
Like that big tree.
There is a massive tree towering over the rest of the Enchanted Forest. It's a bit of a walk, so you reference your journal to see if you can learn anything else of note. And sure enough, in a little sketch, you can see the tall tree. It has a little note that says plane crash. There are also some notes on the Enchanted Forest which state that it is overrun with strange magical Pokemon and a powerful field of whimsy, whatever that means.
This place is pretty cool, though.
It is full of so many fascinating specimens.
As you walk through, you spot some familiar Pokemon like Uglorn, Sprutama, and Foline. It is during this trek that one of Maple's Pokemon evolves. Yep, now with completely maxed out happiness, Maple's shiny Squorro glows with energy. Oh yeah, time for our great big Waddles. We're playing off of the idea of, like when pigs fly a bit, giving this cutie some wing-like ears and a feathery tail, but I didn't want it to be a flying type. I really like the idea of it staying fairy and normal. I mean, it would probably get some flying type moves though. Thinking about the time that Waddles was gigantic in Maple's fantasy prison in the show, I wanted this to be pretty big too, and with its folds of skin really forming into a Mabel sweater, we get a pretty nice and simple but very Waddles design here. Oh, and of course, the normal colors are boring and brown, as this is still based off of the sad Squonk. But Maple, gets the shiny. Okay, let's go ahead and meet Squaddles, the happy pig Pokemon. Squorro, who spent enough time with a loving trainer, may evolve into this joyous winged pig. While the wings atop its head aren't strong enough to get it airborne, it can't help but flap them excitedly when it sees its trainer. They have learned to love their appearance and will stick up for anyone being bullied. The ability is Serene Grace, so that doubles the chance for secondary effects. With the hidden abilities being Magic Bounce and Drizzle, this is basically a nice and bulky, really well-equipped support Pokemon. Maple is ecstatic, somehow able to lift this massive Pokemon up into a hug. Meanwhile, you also see that a Pokemon traveling with Frenda, a little Nolo, is reacting to this forest. Something about this field of whimsy is causing it to evolve right before your eyes, but to your surprise, it looks almost identical. Weird. Frenda is a bit confused as well until she takes it into battle against some wild Pokemon and discovers that it has an alternate form in battle. I think we all knew this was coming. In reference to the first episode of Gravity Falls, our little gnome needs to call on its friends to form a towering mass of gnomes, in the same way that Wishy Washy has its school form, right? And this was a fun challenge, getting a design that looks as though it could be comprised of smaller individuals without getting too complex. Looking at Wishy Washy, the design is a lot more lenient with the solo forms design when crafting the school form. So with that in mind, I was able to make something that hints at Nolo without being too tied to it. Okay, let's meet Gnolorde solo form. So this evolution seems to be identical to Nolo, save for a hat that is covered with spots. Apparently, these markings denote this Pokemon is a leader among Nolo. While it is barely stronger than its followers, it is able to call on them to become incredibly formidable. And the ability is Horde, so like schooling, right? Changes into its Horde form if its HP is above 25%, and if it drops below 25%, it reverts back to the solo form. The Horde form, on the other hand, this bulky behemoth is actually comprised of hundreds of individual Nolo working together. A single Gnolorde leads the others and maintains the configuration in order to protect the forest it calls home. Unfortunately, when this form has taken enough damage, the Nolo will abandon their leader to continue the battle alone. Now, both Maple and Frenda are excited about their new Pokemon, so you decide to take a look in the nearby forest to see if you can find any new Pokemon. The first of which is hard to miss as it is producing bright lights. Okay, we're gonna do something pretty silly here based off of the flashlight frog. This is a tiny little frog from Cameroon, Africa. It's bioluminescent with a glowing horn on its nose, but we're gonna bring in a couple more things into this design. First off, we're really gonna play up the bioluminescent angle and have this frog glowing like it's partying at a freaking rave, complete with headphones and silly glasses. And the other fun bit at play are the tadpoles in its mouth. These are a reference to mouth-brooding frogs, which carry their frogs and offspring in their mouths. I mean, technically it's like in their vocal sacs, but you get the idea. And it's to keep them safe as they develop. So we get 3 little babies glowing brightly in there. I don't know if this feels a little odd. I mean, we still got other Pokemon like Kangaskhan and Mousehold that have their babies with them. All right, let's meet our raving frog. This is Unce, the Rave Pokemon. This squishy frog is always ready for a party. While dancing and swaying, Unce illuminates its surroundings with bright neon lights. 3 babies, which researchers called Uncelings, swim around in this Pokemon's water-filled mouth. These Uncelings can be shot at opponents, but Unce has to hurriedly scoop them back up again afterwards. The ability is soundproof, and that makes it immune to all sound-based moves, which is honestly pretty helpful in this region. We've got a decent amount of sound-based attacks flying around, and the hidden ability is plus. These frogs are having just a great time dancing away in this trippy forest. Now, moving through the underbrush nearby, you spot something absolutely covered in dirt and mud. Okay, I hope you are ready to go full goblin mode here. This is our fantasy forest, so getting a more classic fantasy monster in here was important. This is based off of a goblin, but more specifically the modern term of going goblin mode, wherein you revel in your grossness and live a more simple and hedonistic lifestyle. So this little buddy is just a complete mess and loves it, right? Such a mess and so dirty, in fact, that it is going to be a little mono ground type. I thought about sticking the dark type on it, but especially in more modern depictions of goblins, they aren't necessarily malicious, just a little gross and weird. Though it will certainly, get dark type moves. Now, you can see me struggling a bit with the colors here, as I initially thought that I really needed to lean into the ground type color palette, but you'll see that I ended up swapping things with the shiny in the end. All right, let's go ahead and meet Mucklin, the muddy Pokemon. This delightful little creature relishes in its unkempt and dirty appearance. Mucklin seem incapable of experiencing shame and do what they please. While not malicious, they don't care if others are affected by their unhygienic habits. While trainers should be prepared to be spattered with mud, snot, and other things, they can learn much from a Mucklin's carefree outlook. The ability is Pick Up, so that means that they will obtain single-use items that other Pokemon use in battle, or that are thrown at them with Fling. I like that idea, like, oh, this Pokemon half ate their berry, and Mucklin's like, oh, you're gonna finish that? And, gobbles it up. And the hidden ability is Damp. But what do you think of this messy monster? Can you relate to its outlook on things? Would you go ahead and catch one, even if you need to clean mud off of things all the time? Anyway, you all continue through the glowing forest.
This place is so magical.
Yes, it is as though we are on an epic quest in a new land of adventure.
I feel like a fairy princess!
Well, fairy princess, I hope you are ready to climb.
You've reached the base of the massive tree, but luckily a series of rudimentary ladders and ropes lead up the trunk.
Everyone, roll for athletics!
What's that? Way up at the top. It looks all 80s-y?
Sure enough, through the branches, you see the fuselage of a plane, which you were expecting to see, but it appears to be emanating bright neon lights. You all begin to climb. But we'll pick up from there in the next episode. Be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you are enjoying this series. There is a new puzzle added to the Discord server, so check out the video description for details on how to join the journal deciphering fun if you haven't done so already. A huge thank you to our Patreon supporters, especially Angel, who is rocking it in the champion tier. Angel's super cool and super talented and a Fakemon artist as well. Alright, I will catch you in the next one. Later, nerds.